One of the reasons why people cannot overcome addictive behavior is because almost all of the times we mystify it. We think that since it is complicated, then the solution to it must be complex. We even take it to the next level where we even compartmentalize addictive behavior. So some of us believe that some addictive behaviors are more complicated and impossible than other addictive behavior. As I say this, I'm reminded of a guy I was taking through a therapy section. He was battling with homosexuality and same-sex complications. And at the end of the first session of his counseling with me, he was like, excuse me, sir, I observed that all through the time you were talking about the work you've done in terms of scope of work for dealing with helping people deal with addiction. You kept talking about masturbation, you kept talking about pornography, smoking and the likes. I don't think you understand the intensity of what I got to deal with. Are you sure what you are talking about is going to be able to help me deal with what I'm dealing with? I've been gay for over 3 decades. And when it was done, he would have thought that I would be mesmerized. But I said, listen, if you can just assure me that you're willing to do everything that I ask you to do. Because if you're willing to do everything that I ask you to do, then I assure you that you are going to deal with and you're going to overcome whatever it is that you're dealing with. And that's exactly what happened. By the 3rd day of his session, he was all tears because he couldn't believe the impact, the clarity, the precision with which things evolved. I say that to say that oftentimes we try to mystify addictive behavior, and I can excuse us. I can relate with why we often do that. Addictive behavior has mesmerized you. It gets you arrested, and then it confiscates your willpower. It messes with your power of choice. It completely renders impotent your competence for, deciding, choosing the path that you want to go in life. You are so helpless. You do the things that you don't want to do. You hurt the people that you love. You damage the people that you are sent to save. You have apologized 1,000 times and you still find yourself doing the things that you hate. You defend yourself a lot of the times, but people do not realize that what you're doing is just a survival strategy. You're completely messed up. Your job is being threatened. Your relationships are going down the drain on a daily basis. Your life is in such a mess. The truth is that you have resigned. For most of us, we have resigned to faith. We even say, that's how I was created. That's how I was designed. It's my choice. That's how I want to live my life. A lot of us do all of that, but all of the times we know that it's not the plan. This is not how I plan to live my life. This is not how I set out to do it. But the truth is that you don't know what to do. You are helpless. You are frustrated, and everything you're trying to do is just some kind of survival thing. Listen, the problem is that almost all of the times we think that because addictive behavior is complicated, then the solution must be complex. And so when we're shown very simple things that we can do to break free from addictive behavior, we think it's too simplistic. It can be this. It reminds me of David in the Bible. All that David needed to deal with Goliath was stones. Those stones were not special stones. he picked them on the ground, cleaned them up. It was the skill with which he applied the stones, the anointing that backed up the skill, that made the difference. They were not special stones. The truth is that it is little hinges that swing huge doors. I repeat, it is little hinges that swing huge doors. Complicated problems do not have to have complex solutions. We need to do that adjustment in our minds. And as soon as we do that adjustment in our minds and we're willing to take the steps that we need to take, you will discover that addictive behavior, they're not as mystical as we portray them to be. And what I want to do today is to show you very simple things that you need to employ and deploy, and you can break free from any kind of addictive behavior. Now, before I go into those very, very simple things that you need to do, can I ask you a question that is a very profound, very important question that you need to answer? It will form the bedrock. It will form the foundation upon which you can navigate your way out of addictive behavior. Number one, why do you want to be free from addictive behavior? Now, that is if at all you want to be free, because you see, almost all of the times, unless you answer this question with profound clarity, you're not going to be able to sustain the resilience. You're not going to be able to sustain the tenacity that is required to do very simple things long enough until you see the result that you want to see. You need to be able to answer that question. Now listen to this. Unless you know in its clearest terms why you want, that is if you want to be free. It is the reason why you can't force these things on people. You have to want to be free to be able to be provided the assistance that you need to be able to break free. So, but the question, permit me to assume that you actually want to be free. You're so helpless and frustrated that you want to be free. The question will be, why do you want to be free? Because you see, if your reason for wanting to be free is not strong enough, is not profound enough, you will not be able to do simple things long enough until you experience the freedom that you need. You're not going to be able to wage a war against resistances that are going to come your way to be able to sustain it until you get to be free. Now listen to this. Why do you want to be free? Does your life depend on it? What will you gain if you get free? What will you lose if you get free? What are the rewards? The intensity, the profoundness of the benefit, the reward of getting free, if it is not solid enough, you are not going to be able to sustain, you are not going to be able to pay the price required to break free from addictive behavior. This is so important. Many people think that the reason why they are not able to break free from addictive behavior is because they don't know how to do it. That's not true. It is not how to do it that's messing you up. It is why to do it. If your why to do it is not strong, then even if you are shown how to do it, you won't do it. As a matter of fact, the how to do it is not complicated. It's simple, everyday stuff. If I share some of the things you might need to do to break free from addictive behavior, you will realize that they are so simple you want to ignore them. They're so simple you don't want to take them seriously. The reason is because your why. As I say this, I'm reminded in Hebrew chapter 2, the Bible talking about Christ said of him that for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. The intensity of the joy that was set before him propelled him, inspired him. It gave him the resistance. It gave him the resilience, the sustaining power to keep at it. He endured the cross. He despised the shame, and now he's seated at the right hand of glory. What Jesus wanted to gain from the process he was going to deal with was so intense. It was such a big catch, he couldn't miss it. So it gave him the resilience, the tenacity, the motivation. It gave him everything that he needed to sustain, to develop the resilience, to sustain simple steps until he saw the result. Let me say this. Why you want to be free is more important than how to be free. You know why? Because if there is a why, then there is a will to do it. And if there is a will to do it, then there is a way to do it. So the why rules over the will, the why rules over the way. This is so profound. It has even been suggested, and I profoundly agree with that you need 5% of how to do anything to succeed in life in that thing. But you will need 95% of why you should do it. Because see, listen, once you know why you should do it, the how will be available, and you will give it the dedication that is needed to break into the next level. Don't forget what we're talking about. We're talking about addictive behavior, and I'm saying the steps required for breaking free from addictive behavior are so simple. You want to embrace them and break free as quickly as you can. So I decided to develop this. I wrote a book titled Prison Break. It's a workbook that shows you all the steps that you will need to take to break free from any kind of addictive behavior. I don't care what it is. I also developed an online course. It's called the Behavior Mastery Challenge. So the workbook together with the Behavior Mastery Challenge will guide you to break free from whatever. I don't care what it is. Smoking, masturbation, pornography, lesbianism, homosexuality, whatever you are addicted to. Addictive behavior is those things you do. You've promised, you've vowed, you've decided 1,000 times to stop doing them, but you can't. Then I want to show you how to break free. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to drop the links and some of the details that you need to go through to participate in the Behavior Mastery Challenge and to have your own copy of Prison Break. And I can guarantee you, breaking free from addiction is one of the simplest things that you can do and experience. In the coming days, I'm going to share some more thoughts with you, especially on some of the things you must begin to do. Today, we've talked about why your why must be. I want to show you how to craft your why. I want to show you how to create your why. I want to show you how to reinforce your why. And then you are up on the other side of victory. Check the links, follow the links, follow the process, and participate in the challenge and get your own copy of Prison Break. Thank you for listening.